I'm going to be so real with you. I'm pretty conflicted about this mod pack. MC Eternal 2 is, for lack of better words, a kitchen sink mod pack that was originally created to be enjoyed between the devs' pals. However, over time, it blew up in popularity and sort of evolved beyond that, which is a certainly admirable origin story, so what's the pack about? Your goal, like a lot of these mod packs, is to reach the end while utilizing different magic and tech mods to move your way forward. Now, I normally tend to dodge kitchen sink mod packs as they usually don't have any structure to commentate on, but this one was something that's been recommended quite a few times to me, so what do I think? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it truly different or just another kitchen sink mod pack? Well, stay tuned and find out. But before we begin, I gotta do a quick spiel about something. If you didn't watch my channel update video, there's currently a bet I made with the community. If this channel reached 100,000 subscribers by the end of next year, I'd play GregTech New Horizons to completion, quests and Stargate and all. And don't worry, it won't cut into other reviews, I promise. So if you want me to suffer through 8 to 10,000 hours of a mod pack, consider hitting that like and sub button, hype the video, and share it with your friends. Or don't. Hey, you do you. I'm not your mom, but Greg is counting on you. Anyways, enough yapping, let's talk about the good stuff. MCE2's biggest strength is inarguably its presentation. I was blown away by just how much effort was put into all the little details, from the main menu to the quest book layouts. Even loading your world has a little rat running around. There's certainly an air of charm and personality here that I cannot deny, especially since I had to sign my soul off to a rodent. I mean, I signed it, but pretty sure the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics and Joplin already yoinked my soul years ago, so you might be a little hard-pressed to get that from them, I'm just saying. And I suppose that's what drew me in initially, the air of personality that oozed from everything. The mod pack also has lore of all things. That I did not expect. Moving on to the gameplay though, there are a handful of things I do think it handled nicely. There's a skill point system based on the actions of fishing, fighting, and mining, albeit I feel like the mining tree is kinda, basic, but at least we have something here, it's better than most. I also appreciate that it paced out mods so you don't have access to everything right away. For example, you can't even touch Mechanism until you go to a late game dimension, which is fair. Mechanism is busted, you get like ore quintupling, though that means they left me with create. Yeah, I'm still going to be ignoring it, though I suppose this is a good time to talk about it. I often get comments asking why I dislike or hate Create now, and the answer to that is rather simple actually. It's overused. A lot of modern mod packs have made it a nasty habit to constantly use Create as a beginning baseline for tech, and by a lot, I mean almost every single time. So it's not even that I think that the mod is bad. As a matter of fact, I think the mod is fantastic. I just don't want to keep repeating the nonsense every single time. As a reminder, every time I do a new review, that's a new save. That's me starting over. So just for a second, step yourself into my shoes real quick. Imagine having to start with the same exact tech mod every single time you start a new pack. Yeah, that's some real Groundhog Day level horror, isn't it? Anyways, point is that even though it's a kitchen sink mod pack, it attempts not to immediately hurl the entire universe your direction. Speaking of which, this mod pack also has staged difficulty. Certain milestones of your journey unlocks a new chapter of difficulty, the Nether in particular unlocking expert mode and being the dimension with the materials you need for mid to late game stuff. Now, we will be revisiting the Nether situation later, but this difficulty system actually does prevent a lot of modded mobs from spawning in the overworld, keeping it more in line with vanilla at the start, bumping up after the Nether, and so on. There's also a handful of quality of life mods here, and even a couple mods made specifically for the mod pack for things to work, Tinker Tantrum in particular being one that I remember off the top of my head. It's clear that a lot of care was put into this mod pack, which is what makes the next segment all the more painful to do because I do have quite a bit I did not like about it. I did not like this mod pack. I have many reasons as to why, and only a few are specifically the mod pack's fault, so let's start with those. First off, the early game pacing is abysmal. The introduction book and quest line was really thought out and gave me a solid first impression with its consistent progression pace. But then it ends, and once it does, it sort of left me scratching my caveman buns as to what I was supposed to do next, so I looked at the quest book. Well, let's try Mechanism. I like that mod. Wait a second. Never mind, it's not possible right now. Okay, fair enough. Let's go to the Thermal series, and it requires more diamonds than I can reasonably collect right now. Also, a lot of the recipes still require nether materials, and last I checked, flint and steel still doesn't work on the nether portal, so, well, how about this mod? Or maybe this one. Botania? Pff, just kidding, Botania sucks. I think you can see where the problem is. If I cannot reasonably progress in these mods at the point I'm currently at, wouldn't it make more sense to not show me these options? Showing too many quest options that the player can't do is a great way to speedrun a migraine for them. There's an option to hide quest chapters until you unlock a prerequisite, right? Like, I thought this mod had that built in, so surely this could have been done. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I could do, only to find out that most of my questbook options weren't even possible until I've been to the Nether. And all the other options I really wanted to get into were locked even beyond that. And since the Nether is literally a trigger for the next difficulty setting, I spent a lot of time just trying to figure out how to prepare myself for it, only to find out the book hardly tells you what to do there either. The mod pack has a real nasty habit of just not informing the player enough, and what it does inform you of, you often can't even access yet. It doesn't tell you your options on how to make yourself stronger beyond Tinker's Construct, which is also partially limited by the Nether, and the way into the Nether doesn't even get explained at all because, believe it or not, it's not the simple old method. And there's a handful of significant mods that don't even get mentioned in the book. Ender IO, Occultism, Vampirism, Alex's Caves gets a small shout out in the mining tab then ignored, Ribbits, and even though the dimension for rats is there, the rats mod itself doesn't even get explained to you. Hey, this is post-recording Bond Dweller. Sorry if I sound a little bit off, I'm a little bit sick right now. But as it turns out, there actually is a chapter for vampirism and rats, but vampirism only gets vampiric foods, and then rats gets mentioning cheese. And that's it. So there is chapters, they just don't do anything. On top of which the quest says you can use most modded meats, but as it turns out you also can't do that either. So the mod pack actively has a quest that tells you can use things that you can't use. So that's cool. The only reason I found out about these mods being here was by stumbling into some of their items. Not that it matters, because they are also not something you can access early on. It tells you too much about the stuff you can't even do, but doesn't tell you enough about the stuff that you can. And what you can do in the beginning is so limited, and I genuinely stopped playing pretty much right after entering the Nether because I was so confused and bored. Why are you looking at me? I don't know. And I get to some extent that I'm supposed to be using the wiki because all modded Minecraft is about is wiki diving, but at the same time, with modern mod packs and their standards, the whole point is to educate the player of what is there, so that way they know what their options are to begin with. And I can tell you with confidence that based on what I've seen, there's very little you can do in the early game to begin with. And if there was more than I'm letting off, it sure as hell didn't try telling me. And I know this is probably an egregious example, but I'm going to go ahead and use it because I can't think of a better one. GregTech's quest book handled this really well. You couldn't access certain chapters until you hit the prerequisites. Then you slowly worked your way through the quest book. It didn't feel like it was holding my hand more than it was just informing me of what existed, how things worked, and how to move forward. You know, how most quest books are supposed to work in modern packs. Bottom line, fix the quest book so that way it actually tells the players what they should be doing, while at the same time adding more early game options, because I still stand by the idea that I don't think there's even anything for the early game other than vanilla gameplay. Speaking of locking things off, unlocking the Nether really sucked. Not because it was particularly hard, but because the pack does not tell you how it works, and I'm half convinced that not telling me wasn't intentional. All it says is the Obsidian Palantir is obtained by the Eternal Gateway invasion, and let me ask you a simple question, and if you get it right, I'll give you a kiss on the cheek. What is an Eternal Gateway invasion? Is it A, a random event, B, a portal, C, an item, or D, an off-brand Toblerone? Because if you guessed anything outside of C, congrats, we have the same brain. Yeah, apparently this thing is an item to spawn the event the item is literally named after, and I had no idea for several hours. Stellar. Please explain to me why you named the pearl after the event. And more importantly, why didn't you make that pearl a quest requirement for the Nether so I knew what I needed to do to get the reward pearl? All you did was show me the end result, but didn't show me what I needed to do to get to that point. And it also doesn't even tell you how that reward orb works. And since it doesn't, let me tell you, you have to right-click with the orb until you enter Sukuna's domain and then use a flint and steel on the portal. Even though it says it gives the wielder the knowledge to open the Nether portal, it didn't do that. I tried right-clicking with the pearl and got the red orb business followed by lore text and a bunch of weird debug messaging. Absolutely nothing saying to light the portal while in this effect, neither in quest nor the orb. So then after I did that, I tried the old classic tried and true and was met with, "Sorry, you are too stupid, consult the magic conch shell." Which, as we just discussed, didn't tell me anything. Yet again, the mod pack not giving enough information. And that's not to mention that crafting the pearl requires a rare drop from mobs, and if you goof up and don't clear the event in time, the event ends, the pearl is consumed, and you get nothing, meaning you have to farm for ender pearls and for the rare drop again. I've talked about this so many times before, but I'm not a huge fan of the idea of preventing a player's progress behind a rare event. RNG, to some extent, is fun, but if I have to farm for literal hours for 4 souls that are a rare drop to start with, only to fail the event I needed to do because I was underprepared due to the mod pack not really telling me how to be ready for this, I'm going to cheat! That's right, I cheated. I typically try to remain on survival for these reviews so that I can experience the mod pack as the average player would. However, if a mod pack hits me with the feeling that it's not going to respect my time, I'm not going to respect its time either. And to tell you the truth, I feel like the mod pack kinda warned me about this because there's a daily login reward system, like actually based on the clock on your computer, that you log in and then you get items like a Jaffa Cake and a ticket. So I took this as it being cute, but it was actually a warning that my time was going to be wasted quite a bit. So let me tell you what I cheated in real quick since I'm here talking about it. The beehive was cheated in so I could experience the Bumble Zone, as even though the quest book says a bee nest or hive would work, it actually means the vanilla ones, not the modded ones. I spent a lot of time trying to shove my way into a modded bee nest using brute force, only to find out the quest didn't specify. I cheated in the Eternal Gateways reward pearl after failing it and seeing that I don't get to keep my pearl to try again. So if I don't get to try the challenge again, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to give myself the pearl and call it a day. And I turned on keep inventory because of my next pack specific issue. This mod pack has a nasty habit of just killing you unfairly because it can. And in case you're about to type skill issue like someone with a media literacy of a wet noodle, I turned this on because on my in-game second day, count it second day, I saw a goose in a cave called the Goose. This was pre-hard mode, this was pre-nether, this was pre-me having anything beyond just having the iron armor I yoinked from the village I spawned on that was in orbit. So now that we have the context, I will now be telling you with a straight face that I was promptly blown up 7 different times by fireballs before I swapped to peaceful, in which I found out the stupid thing was still there, so I abused peaceful regen, deleted it, and then proceeded to keep inventory. That goose's fireballs also lit my forest on fire, and there are craters in my front yard to this day. Also, when you enter the nether, the most common mob in there are wither skeleton warrior variants that all do wither damage, which, let me tell ya, diamond armor cannot protect your cheeks from the clappage you receive from that. This mod pack just sort of kills you when it feels like it, not even due to skill more than just because it opted to. Your mom even sends you creeper milk in the mailbox, which I don't even want to begin to ask where it comes from, which if you drink blows you up. Minor explosion my ass, it instantly kills me. The nether also has been stuffed with every hostile mob under the sun, including the stupid mosquitoes that I'm quite honestly sick of seeing and never thought they were a good addition because they're just phantoms that blind you by sticking to your face. Great! Awesome! Just what we needed. More reasons for me to eat my keyboard and die of a stroke at 25. It feels like a lot of this pack was just sort of built with the lol quirky random humor from like the early 2000s, and I found very little of it actually amusing. It only actually soured my experience further. Now that concludes what I deem to be mod pack specific problems, so now it's on to the personal preference issues. I do not like kitchen sink mod packs for one reason. It's not because there are tons of mods in it, or because it has a lot of non-tech mods, or because it lacks any sort of theming. Instead, it's because they often lack proper structure. Something that I personally like my mod packs to do is give me a basic starting line of progression and then at some point branch out to 2 or 3 options, allowing me to choose how I want to progress to the next stage of the pack and so on. I don't mind there being options of choosing magic or tech, I actually like being able to have choices. But when you throw all of it at me at once, it gives me decision paralysis. This isn't even like just a mod pack exclusive issue either. Fighting games do it, MOBAs do it, Deadlock does it. I love having options, but giving me everything all at once just sort of makes my brain spin. I like unlocking my content, not having it all unlocked right away, or in this case, having tons of options half unlocked right away and some that you can't even do but is showing it to you anyways. I'm also incredibly impatient, but not in the way that you think. I don't mind a grind, but I do mind a grind that lacks a satisfying activity. Mining is a satisfying grind. It's simple, it's got satisfying sounds, and it feels like it's kinda under my control. Certain ores appear more at certain Y levels, so you just mine there for what you want. It's simple as that, and you get to collect a bunch of rocks too. However, if my grind requires me to only really cross my fingers with no real agency on my half, I get bored really easily, which is why farming for soul fragments for the gateway was so awful for me, and why this dumb combat mod that's in every pack now annoys me. Because now it takes the fast-paced Minecraft combat and slows it down to a point where I'm just, it's not good. This isn't Dark Souls. Dark Souls had the satisfying gameplay from start to finish. This is just, it's slow. It's stinky. I don't like it. Basically, if what I'm doing is at least satisfying, I'm patient. Otherwise, I just want it done and over with. It's why GregTech was actually fun for me when I first played it. The grind was satisfying. Here, it's just kind of it's just here. It's a slog. There's nothing interesting about it. I don't even get early game mod options until I get to go to hell. Another personal gripe I have with this pack is that it sort of feels very similar to other adventuring packs. It's got that legendary Eyes mod, another mod I've started to not like from how often I've seen it. The stage difficulty isn't particularly unique here. The Young Structures is here again, and the roguelike dungeons are here and still have the same busted loot as always. I literally got a Cobalt War Pick from one, and I had never entered the Nether even once at that point. And just like the rest of these adventure packs, Create is here. And what's weird is MC Eternal 2 actually says that it has something for, like, everyone, but it then restricts magic and tech to a point that you can't do anything until you visit Tartarus. So instead of feeling like a mod pack for everyone, it feels like Beyond Depth if it didn't have a ketamine addiction. Now, to be entirely fair, this could be one of the first mod packs to have done this sort of thing, and to be extra fair, I think it does it better than the others I've played. I just stopped being interested in the mod pack when I realized I was sort of just running something back I've done before. Which leads us to this point. Look, I don't think MC Eternal 2 is bad, especially for a kitchen sink mod pack. Better Minecraft has worse kitchen sink mod pack, dead to rights. But I definitely think this mod pack was 100% not meant for a player like me, so I cannot stress enough that you all still give this mod pack a shot. I'm a dumb caveman, I don't know everything. For all you know, the mod pack has been updated since this video's gone up, and maybe you'll like it. That being said, future mod pack votes will have a new rule in place after this one. If a kitchen sink mod pack wins a mod pack vote through top comment or by me accidentally putting it in the mod pack vote, I will choose the second place winner. You know, so long as that isn't a kitchen sink as well. It's incredibly hard for me to talk about design in a mod pack genre that is pretty light-handed with its design choices. Nothing against them, just got nothing to say about them either. So it's time for the next mod pack vote. Your options are Life in the Village 4, Cobblemon Official, and Divine Journey 2. Leave a comment down below to submit your vote, and until next time, this has been the Bond Dweller. The clock is ticking, Gregheads.